even though, I don't contact them often. They're the friends that like you see them once every year, every other year or something, but it feels like no time has passed, like those kind of
Yeah.
things. And so lots of shared experiences there. But you talking about, having kind of a hang with somebody that you met in real life. I was like thinking, I don't know if I'd ever be able to do that. Just like, have like a personal trainer or something and hang out. But in the Twitch space and whatnot, I feel like I've made quite a few friends that I get along with. But I think the hardest part, one of the hardest things about streaming is just people disappear.
Yeah.
People, because it is kind of a long distance thing. It's not like you're around the corner. And if somebody gets a new job or if things aren't working out or they're just gone. And it's this weird thing, because you can connect with somebody really well and then they have to take on a different job, they have a kid or whatever it is, and they just kind of stop. And it's it's really tough. I'm still trying to figure out how that works. And I know that's kind of topical right now, but for you too.
Oh
And
yeah.
so I don't know. It's interesting. It's tough.
Have you ever had that relationship with a buddy's girlfriend? No romantic relationship between you and the girlfriend. Just friendship.
I rarely had friendships with any girls ever
Okay.
until I
That's
became an
fair.
adult and got married, really, to be
That's
honest.
fair.
I always
But
felt too nervous around girls.
like if a buddy's girlfriend is around a lot, like they tend to be, right? You end up like, they become part of the group. And then
Sure.
they break up and she's just gone and you like miss her, right? Because there
Mhm.
was a bond, a friendship bond that is, it's against the bro code, I say in quotes, you can't
Yeah.
like hang out with your buddy's girlfriend. That'd be really fucked up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But still, you miss them. You miss that person. I don't know. That's weird.
Sure.
I think about that sometimes. I think about my friends' ex-girlfriends sometimes in a way that they probably don't.
That's a weird sentence to say out loud.
Right? Super weird.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, so I didn't write a topic there. It's in the notes. It
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
just says the letter J, and I was trying to think of something. I can't remember if I asked you this question before, but I feel like it's relevant because we went on a little mini road trip here this weekend. So, what's your favorite road trip snack?
Snack. Oh, okay. So this is interesting because I keep my car very clean. I don't like to get crumbs and shit everywhere. So that's a definite consideration. I don't like things that are crummy. I also don't like things getting on my hands, like sticky things. So like
Mhm.
chocolate, I don't like powdered donuts. That's definitely an out. Cheetos, definitely no way. So it's got to be beef jerky. I think is a good one. It also
Sure.
doesn't like make you tired because it's mostly protein, and you
Mhm.
can pretty much eat it without like making a mess. It's not like I don't know. It's probably awful for you, but it's not awful in the way that a Cheeto is.
Beef jerky?
Yeah, beef jerky. Yeah.
It's one of the healthier snacks actually, because it's
Okay.
lean beef.
Nuts are
It's
real good. I like
yeah,
cashews. Cashews are usually available too. Like you could get like a sleeve of cashews.
yeah, this is true.
Um,
Yeah, and you can just if you get a sleeve, you can just kinda funnel it in your mouth. You don't even have
yeah.
to touch them with your hand.
But neatness is a big concern of mine when I'm in the car. Really, I don't let
Mm,
people eat French fries in my car.
it's funny.
Like you're not allowed. If you want to eat French fries, fucking stand outside, eat your French fries.
You can tell Briar doesn't have little children right now.
Oh man, little children in my car was a problem. It was an ongoing concern. It was a problem.
I should probably go wipe down my car right now because there's this sticky stuff that's been on my leather seat for a good few months now, and I haven't wiped it up yet. It'll be fine.
That
Uh,
I used to sweat it out when my kids would like open like a soda in the back seat of my car. I'd be like, looking back, like, you can put the top back on that thing.
I do that with my wife anywhere. Like when my wife now I'm that way around my computer stuff
Hmm.
because there was a point when my wife would stream once a week or something, and she put like 3 glasses. It would be like a mug of tea, water, and then like something else,
Yeah,
hot chocolate or something like that. Cause she likes her beverages.
yeah.
And she'd put them like around here, and the whole time I'm just like, please don't spill, because I have done that. I have knocked over a mug of coffee onto my desk before during
Samesies.
stream. There used to be a couple of clips where it was like a full mug of coffee and I just knocked it over, and I'm just like during stream I'm just like, fuck, because it was everywhere. It was like dripping off the, oh, it was bad. So, of course, I was concerned about my wife, who usually is a little more klutzy than me. Usually.
My computers and all my like electronics are not on my desk. They're like off to the side. The only thing that's on my desk are like keyboards, and there's like
Yeah.
remote controls for like TVs and controllers and stuff like that, but nothing like super crazy expensive. So if I do nail a drink, which has happened several times. In fact, the last charity stream that we did for St. Jude, I was shotgunning beers.
For charity, of course. For the kids.
For the kids. It was just like a spray of beer, like just all around the office. It took me forever. I was like literally like cleaning the walls with a sponge. I still find like little droplets of beer sometimes.
Nice. But I was just gonna give my input on the road trip thing. Do you know what combos are? You've got to know what combos are.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Yeah. Combos are always a go-to road trip snack for me because you can just like pop them in your mouth,
Yeah.
They're not too messy because you're not like sitting there with a bunch of them in your hands or anything like that.
Yeah. Those
And
you can also kind of out of the bag it too, like
yeah,
take the bag.
you can.
Yeah.
I like honey roasted peanuts.
Yes. What flavor combos are you into?
There's not really any that I don't like. I kind of like them all.
All right, I kind of agree with that, actually.
there's actually, okay, so I had never had them before.
Yeah.
And there was one point, like, I interacted with combos on Twitter, and I was like, hey, can you send me anything? And they actually sent me like a little box with like 5 or 6 individual baggies of stuff. In that box had the blue cheese flavor.
Yeah, I have had
and
those.
I was like, not a huge blue cheese fan. Don't like it on salad, maybe on a burger, maybe. But I was like, you know what? They're combos. I'll give it a shot. I had one. I was like, these are great because they don't taste like blue cheese at all. It tastes like almost like a Parmesan.
Oh,
They're not.
Interesting.
They're not moldy flavored at all. So actually, those were my sleeper pick probably.
Interesting.
But otherwise,
my wife likes the buffalo flavor, and I think they have blue cheese in them.
Really?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't think those are terrible. They used to have like peanut butter ones. They used to have.
Do they not have peanut butter anymore?
Those went away a long time ago.
Oh.
They used to have like salted caramel, stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about like the 90s. Like combos go way back for me.
Yeah. They're a good snack. They're kind of an interesting snack because it's like Oreos where you can kind of do stuff with them. Like you can kind of crack it in half, eat the outside part first, and then eat the cheese, or kind of
just the filling. Yeah.
Yeah.
The pepperoni pretzels are, the standard go-to though. I think.
Yeah, I think I prefer pretzels over crackers when it comes to combos, but I'm not like
saltiness to them.
I'm not gonna kick them out of bed.
Yeah, I'll still eat the cracker ones.
You're still invited. You can have a good time.
Sit in the corner.
Crackers.
Yeah.
You'll
be the one that's eaten when everything else is
gone. So I noticed something interesting, Jay. I put a link to Metacritic, to specifically the gaming, portion of Metacritic, and here it has all the top games so far of 2023. I don't think it's actually limited to 2023. This is just the current list of 10 top games. I'm gonna read them off for the listener so they can kind of hear what my point is. The number 1 is obviously Metroid Prime Remastered. Number 2 is The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Number 3 is Tetris Effect Connected. Number 4 is Persona 4 Golden. Number 5 is Pistol Whip. 6 is Dead Space, the remake that recently came out. 7 is Hi-Fi Rush. Number 8 is another version of Persona 4 Golden. Number 9 is another version of Dead Space. And number 10 is Pizza Tower. Of those 10 games, there are 3 games that are new, right? There's Pistol Whip, Hi-Fi Rush, and Pizza Tower. I'm unfamiliar with Pizza Tower. I assume it's a new game. All the rest,
like an indie game or something, yeah.
All the rest are remakes of old games, like retro games. Would you call Metroid Prime a retro game at this point? It's on the GameCube, right?
Oh, 100%. That would have
Yeah.
been from almost 20 years ago, if not 20 years ago.
Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, certainly not a retro game, but an older game at this point. It's
Sure.
2016, 2015, I think it came out. And this is like,
360?
yeah, it
Was
definitely
that the
came out on the
360?
360.
So
Yeah.
that was earlier than 2015 probably.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong then. Well, all right. I don't know when it came out.
I'll
Tetris
look it up
Effect
while you're
Connected
talking.
is a new version again of an old game. Persona 4 Golden, again a new version of a very old game. I think Persona 4 came out originally for the PSP or the P.
The Vita.
Was it the Vita? Okay.
Vita.
Dead Space, again another remake of an Xbox 360, PS3 era game, and so on and so forth. What's interesting to me about how many of these top 10 games so far of 2023, and looking forward, like another Zelda game is coming out. That's got sure to be a top seller. People are looking forward to Metroid Prime 4. Again, not a remake, but another entry into a classic franchise at this point. It's amazing how much of this stuff, like this is the top 10 current video games. This is not, and we're talking about it on a retro podcast, but this is just everybody. This is everybody, right? It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really interesting to me. So, people talk about the video game market, the retro game market, all that kind of stuff. And I think this ties closely in with that because video games, they're not just a one and done sort of media. Like they're often remastered, remade, brought to new systems, whatever, and it finds a new audience. Like kids that haven't played this stuff 15, 20 years ago are now starting to play it and get to enjoy it and things like that. I'm all for it. But a lot of people do complain, like, "Hey, why do we continue to bring all this stuff back? Like, why can't we have some new IPs, some new games?" Which is a valid criticism. Um, and Nintendo is notoriously bad for this. It's just like 80% of their new games are old IPs and stuff like that. It's really wild. They don't have as many new IPs anymore. But for me personally, I'm okay with it because they have all this stuff they know is popular.
Yeah.
But I do see the criticism too. I understand it.
Yeah, definitely. Like I'm torn on it too. Like, I'm playing Metroid Prime Remastered, but I don't think I was like that excited for it. But now that I'm playing with it, I'm having a great time. Like, oh, I forgot how good this game is. And this version of it for the Switch is actually kind of blows my mind how good it looks on the Switch, and it runs 60 FPS, and it's got like modern controls, so you don't have to mess with like the GameCube era Metroid Prime controls. But at the same time, it's like, oh, man, I'm really looking forward to Metroid Prime 4. I really like Metroid Dread. These are old franchises done in a new way. I guess I'm really torn on it. It's interesting of note. I don't know that I have any commentary of it though. I do like when Last of Us got remastered late last year for the PS5. I was like, well, I already bought the remastered version, like on the
Yeah.
PS4. So it's like, what's going on here? It makes sense though because they got the new TV show coming out. I don't know. It's interesting. It's a wild gamble to create a new IP though, because games cost so much money to make. When they could come out with an old one that they know is going to sell, seems like a no-brainer. It's a slam dunk, especially a Metroid.
Business side, I understand it. Consumer side, it can get frustrating for sure.
Creatively, it's got to suck too, right? To just keep working on the same thing forever.
Another Mario game? Okay.
Seriously though, like
New Super Mario Brothers 2 5. The newer.
you run out of ideas.
Yeah. But I feel like most of the time when new IPs or new games come out, a lot of the times they're taking ideas from indie games anyways. Like indie games are vastly superior in terms of creativity and new characters and all that kind of stuff. And people
Yeah.
sleep on that stuff. Like if you're feeling like, man, I really want some new games, there are so many good indie games out there. It is wild.
Yeah.
Go open your sense of that. And usually they're fairly cheap too.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
the other
that's
thing.
true. They're usually a lot cheaper. Especially even Nintendo's got their new games going up to $70, which I think is a little. What are you gonna do though?
I mean, I understand it. Think about it. Like old Nintendo and Super Nintendo games would go for 50, 60, $70.
Yeah, but that was because there was like hardware inside that cartridge. It wasn't just a it wasn't just
Sure.
a
No,
disc,
I understand.
right? I mean, that's true. I remember spending $100 on a cartridge back in the '90s, but it was somewhat. It's like, oh, this one's a 64 megabit cartridge, so it's like they had to pack on all this extra hardware into this cartridge to get this thing to run, or the cartridge itself had like something like the Super FX chip in it that would
Mhm.
allow games to be in 3D or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I am enjoying Metroid Prime Remastered though. It really pushes the Switch further than I ever thought the Switch could go. It looks magnificent, and it's nice to play that classic game with updated graphics and updated controls. You ever play the Metroid Prime series?
For very briefly,
Yeah.
time. It just I don't know. I think back in the GameCube era, that first person platformer shooter thing, puzzle solver kind of game was not really my style.
Yeah.
I feel like I should jump back in. I've been looking for a copy of that, but the US version,
Yeah.
and it's kind of hard to find right now. Like,
Yeah. It took me like weeks to get it.
yeah,
Um,
you
I,
can
I
find it
finally
on
got it off it.
PlayAsia and stuff.
I finally got it on eBay. Like I think I set like a reminder if this comes back into stock, like remind me, something like that. Maybe I got it off
Hmm.
of Best Buy. No, I forgot.
I should go look again. I had looked a couple of weeks ago when they were basically sold out everywhere. You can get it on like PlayAsia and stuff, and it says it's the US version, but then you have to pay extra for shipping and stuff. So I was like,
Yeah,
nah.
they also take a long time to ship games to
Yeah, that is true. I may have actually ordered it. I'm just trying to remember.
you.
I may have ordered it with something else. I was trying to figure out like, because if you get over $100 worth of stuff, you get free shipping. So I remember looking for something else to pick up, and I may have just said screw it because I couldn't find a second thing to buy, which is tough because there's a lot of shit on PlayAsia. Like there's so much stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is a rabbit hole that you can spend a lot of time and money on.
Oh, I think it was the Final Fantasy game that I bought.
Oh right,
So
yeah.
because we were talking about that last episode.
For this is the 1, 2, and 6, 1 through 6
Mhm.
pixel remaster.
Yeah, I haven't gotten it yet.
I don't think it's out yet, right?
Is it? Is it a pre-order?
I think it's a pre-order.
Okay, that makes sense. So the news that we have, it's not a ton of news, but there's some good stories here. I think it was a day or two after the last episode, they showed the final trailer for the Super Mario Brothers movie. Did you see that?
No, no.
No. So it comes out April 5th for those who don't know, which is a Wednesday, which I find to be kind of strange. A movie coming out on Wednesday, but I don't know. I can't remember if we talked about this, but I think that this movie is going to be the definitive Mario slash video game movie that's going to come out for a long time because I don't know. Illumination has done such a good job with their movies, and it really seems like they have taken care of the IP and really made good on some of the little Easter eggs and things over the years that we've come to learn over Mario and Nintendo products and things like that. I don't know. It just feels like they've taken a lot of care into the IP more so than some other video game movies have. And I think it's going to be really good personally.
Yeah,
Yeah. Excited to take my
I'll
son
watch it
to it.
when it comes
Like,
out on video.
really?
Yeah, I'm not the Mario fan that you are. It's like Mario's not like one of my favorite franchises. So
Did you watch the Sonic movies when they came out in theaters?
no.
No. Wow. Wow. I thought you were the Sega kid.
Dude, if they make a check in the Forever Man movie, I'm in. I'm day one. Street
The
Fighter
what
movie?
movie?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. Speaking of Street Fighter, complete sidetrack here. You know how you mentioned that Street Fighter Duel had come out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I downloaded it that night.
Yeah.
That was a mistake.
You were
I
saying
really
on
enjoy it.
TCP.
I really enjoy it. This is not news, but I've been playing it every day. if you like gotcha games, if you like kind of the AFK style where you have to set up a team and rank them up and grind for gear and all that stuff, then it's really good. People have been comparing it to AFK Arena. It's I don't know, it's a specific style of game where you can kind of play passively a little bit, where you're collecting your rewards daily. You do your daily and weekly quest type stuff, and then you can pull your characters. And the campaign is like there's just a lot to do, and the main point of the game is to find counters to other characters and their attacks and stuff like that. Some of them have specialties, so you have characters that you got to rank up and whatnot. I haven't spent a cent on the game. I've wanted to, but I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna hard stop. I'm not gonna spend anything on the game and see how far I can get. And you accrue rewards just by letting the game sit and stuff like that. I don't know. It's something you can have playing while you're watching a show or doing something else at the same time, and it itches that gotcha itch for me. You know, I'm a gambler. I like to gamble. What can I say?
You gotta know when to Hadouken. You gotta know when.
It's funny. One of the best characters in the game for attacking is Mad Ryu.
Yeah.
He is insane.
I
It's
checked
fun.
it out. I think I played it for like an hour. I was not digging it at all. It's just not my type of game.
Yeah,
It really,
it's a more passive experience
yeah,
for
it
sure.
really felt like I had a like. It was just like a lot of like clicking through menus. It felt like
Yes,
to get
100%.
yeah.
Whenever I play Raid Shadow Legends, which I have for over 2 years now, my wife calls it the clicky game because she can just hear the mouse. I took my laptop to Seattle, and we were in a hotel room, and I stayed up late because I was working on some stuff, and she just woke up. She's like, "When are you gonna stop playing the clicky game?" 'Cause there's a lot of menu clicking. Uh, Kind of a small, but I don't know, what do they call it? Phantom update from Nintendo with the Nintendo Switch games that they just published. 4 new games on the Nintendo Switch online service, the $20 one. Everybody, you've been waiting for this, Briar. I know you have. Side Pocket
Oh yeah,
for the
nothing
Super
like
Nintendo.
Pool on the Super Nintendo.
The definitive version of Side Pocket, because there was an NES version of this as well. You can now play. I used to play the Windows pool game that would always have the like ice cream truck or ice cream van music playing and stuff.
I
I don't
don't
know, the
remember
like
that.
like the pool hall music. Oh man, that was very reminiscent. So I don't know if I've ever played Side Pocket. So Side Pocket, Xevious, which is a shmup for the NES, Burger Time Deluxe, the Game Boy edition,
Okay.
and Kirby Dream Land 2, which is probably the cream of the crop there for that list of 4 are now accessible on Switch
The
online.
only thing I know about Burger Time is the main character, like the kind of drawing of him that was on the side of the arcade cabinet with like the big chef's hat and kind of like the
Mhm.
big happy face. I don't know anything
Yeah.
about that game. That's
They
not
have remade that game so many times over the
have they?
years. It's wild. Oh yeah.
I'll probably check out these games. I don't know. Once they're added to that service, they're basically free, and like I'll be just like kind of sitting on the couch watching like I don't know what were we watching the other night. Something on Amazon Prime. Me and my wife were watching. It was just awful. It was Carnival Row. Carnival Row. It's like fairies and fawns, not fawns, but like what are the guys called with the horns and like the goat feet?
Oh, not Centaur. Yeah, I don't know.
They got those too. It was like it had like Orlando Bloom in it. It looked like it was going to be good, but man, it was just boring. So I started playing some Nintendo Switch, and like this is perfect. Pull out some Xevious, play a little pool, little pocket pool, if you will.
Bring your Kleenex,
I'll check
cue
out Burger
ball,
Time.
corner pocket.
I mean, I like when they
Uh,
add games to this. At some point, I'd like to see like this huge library of games on all of those systems, and I hope that this same Nintendo Switch Online thing gets transferred over to whatever the next Nintendo system is, as opposed to the Virtual Console that just constantly kept getting left behind.
yeah, Yeah, that was not good. It's really interesting to me. They're adding all these things, some of which are kind of obscure titles to the list, and they're down like you still can't download and pay for some games that you could on the Wii and Wii U, which I find to be weird.
Yeah, well,
But
it's a totally different like way to do it, right?
yeah, like it's just weird to me that you can't. I can't remember if it was Banjo Kazooie or Donkey Kong 64 or something like that that you could get on older systems eShops, but you can't get them on this yet.
Yeah, yeah,
Things like that. Maybe those will come to the expansion pack at some point, but it's weird to me. Did you
maybe.
check out this? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just said maybe.
Yeah. Did you check out this next piece? The
Yeah, I
Neo
did,
Geo
man. I'm
MCS
actually,
consolizer.
I think about ordering this. I mean, ordering this is like opening a trapdoor in my wallet, though, because if I order this
Oh, you
thing,
got to buy carts.
gotta buy cards.
So, for those who don't know what we're talking about, there's a new Neo Geo MCS consolizer kit on Kickstarter. There's a little less than 2 weeks left. They're about $300 for the console, and you can also get the arcade stick for about 150. They have like little sets. But this is basically a way to play your Neo Geo MCS cartridges, which are these the big ones?
These are the arcade ones.
They're
There's
like
the
they look like
AVS and the MVS. The MVS is the arcade.
okay. So they basically take the pieces from the arcade and put them into a consolizer so that you don't have to deal with all that stuff at home.
But that part's not included, right? In this, when you pay for $300, you gotta
It is.
buy. I don't know. The way I read it, it looked like you had to buy that part. This is like a super gun and like the plastic case, but you gotta add your own actual arcade hardware to it.
No, I think this includes the MVS slot and the super gun. You just need the cartridges. Pretty sure. But
Okay.
I'm like double checking here real quick. It says a plug and play system. Yeah, it wouldn't I don't feel like it would make any sense to have this without those two built in.
It's often the way it works with these things is that you gotta bring your own actual SNK MVS board. And for this price, it's hard to believe that they're going to be able to include one for $300.
There is a cable adapter for external slot use. It says it's included. Or these are stretch goals. It seems like the thing that you were talking about, it's got to be in there.
I don't think it is.
It doesn't say it. You should double check while
All
I'm
right,
talking
you keep
about them.
talking. I'm gonna
Yeah,
double
yeah, yeah.
check on it because
All right. So
for $300, like if you could get the arcade board plus a super gun for $300, like this would be the deal of the century.
okay. Yeah, you should double check. Briar's, I feel like I should circle back to this next one because Briar's gonna have something to say about it. So Chuck E. Cheese will stop using 3.5-inch floppies this year. They still are using 3.5-inch floppies. Basically, the animatronics in the very creepy mouse and some of the other stuff, they still have to use the 3.5-inch floppies, plus a DVD to update the firmware and the voice and things like that on these animatronics. And I just thought it was kind of funny. Not a retro video game, but Chuck E. Cheese's are kind of turning into arcades and stuff. And just thought it was kind of hilarious that after so many years, they're finally getting rid of 3.5-inch floppies. Huzzah! There's like a video of somebody on Twitter with a 3.5-inch floppy and showing how to install it and everything like that. Man, I think the last time that I used a 3.5-inch floppy was probably 1991.
I still have a floppy drive. It's one of those like USB
But we're not talking
external
about your
ones.
bedroom.
Yeah. Dude,
Do you
call my
really
wife
still have a
that.
floppy
Don't
drive?
talk to about my wife like that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I still have a floppy drive. It's like a USB one that I bought at Best Buy probably 10 years ago. But I don't use it. I haven't used it in years.
You got to get that 1.4 meg going. Was it 1.44?
Well, my copy of TIE Fighter is still on floppy disk, man. Yeah, I am
It says
positive. Going back to the Neo Geo thing, I am positive that you have to buy the arcade hardware.
it says the MCS-01 is sort of an upgraded super gun for the Neo Geo.
Yeah, the Super Gun is just an interface between the MVS and a TV. It's like a way I like because the arcade hardware didn't output like standard stuff. Plus, you need a way to plug in a controller and all that. They also are offering a controller with this. Pretty cool looking one too.
I'm still gonna stick to that's the whole point of this system is that it's a consoleized super gun to use at home to go to your TV. Are you looking at the Kickstarter?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it says a super gun is an option to link the MVS slot to your TV or other compatible screen. Although it could be quite bulky when gathering the PSU and all the cables needed, it was the best solution to play your favorite and cheaper MVS cartridges at home until now. And then it shows the MCS-01. There aren't much differences between the different super guns on the market, so basically plug the JAMA pins and here we go.
Yeah, Super Gun, all it is a converter for arcade hardware to plug into like controllers, like standard like video game controllers and like a TV. I think that's what this thing is. It's a fancy Super Gun.
Right.
And then you put in your own MVS into it. And the specific one too that you need to have to put into this. Like, I'll do more research on this, trust me, and I'll find out for sure for next week. But I'm pretty damn sure that you have to include your own arcade hardware, which is not hard to find. You can buy it on eBay pretty easily.
I just assumed this was an all-in-one system to put
I don't think so. For $300, that would be the deal of the century. To get a Super Gun and this custom plastic. I mean, look how much those. If you want to replace the shell of your Super Nintendo,
there's an animated GIF here that shows them putting the cartridge in a little thing and then putting it straight into this consolizer.
Yeah, because you got to assemble it yourself with the arcade hardware that you already have, the MVS that you already have.
Okay. We'll have to give Briar some more time to research this.
Anyhow, what's the next story?
Okay, sorry. So going backwards, the analog is soon to support the Capcom CPS2 library.
This is the Pocket?
Yes.
I thought it was already on there. It's not already on there?
I don't know.
I know CPS1 is on there.
This news is from yesterday, so I presume not.
So I know CPS1 is already on there, which is like Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition. And I think you get Street Fighter Alpha on there, like thanks to like one version of it that came out for some like obscure Japanese home console that was based on the CPS1 hardware. So this is awesome. CPS2 is great. That means you get like Super Street Fighter 2, you get Street Fighter no, you don't get Street Fighter 3. You get what do you get with CPS2?
X-Men versus Street Fighter, Aliens versus Predator, Marvel versus Capcom, and Pro Gear.
Yep. All good games.
There's a little video of it from Twitter, and it's like fast.
To load?
No. Like the gameplay's fast. So like seeing this on a Pocket is pretty wild to me. It looks like an arcade.
It's crazy. I don't hardly ever play my Pocket as a handheld anymore. It's hooked up to a TV, and I almost always play it on a TV now. It's like become a second mister. It's weird. I thought I'd play it as a handheld all the time, but I find the screen is just a little too small for comfort on anything but like Game Boy or Game Boy Gears or Game Gear games, like games that were designed for a small screen where they have like bigger characters and like playing like console quality games or arcade quality games. It's just everything's so small.
Yeah, my wife tells me that too. Everything's so small. Anyways, so sorry if you hear me sniffling. That the allergies are starting to kick up. Like it's starting to get a little bit nicer, and my allergies are going crazy. So I touched on the Chuck E. Cheese floppy, which I thought was hilarious. And Valve is in the news, not for the reason that we would hope, but they have a huge Steam sale currently going on their collection. There's like one game that's missing, but it's 95 or 96% off.
Wow.
a bunch of games, and I'll read off those games here in a second. For $5.64, you can get, I don't know how many games this is. It's like 20 games. Counter-Strike, Zero Condition, Day of Defeat Source, Team Fortress Classic, Day of Defeat, Deathmatch Classic, Half-Life Opposing Force, Ricochet, Half-Life, Half-Life Blue Shift, Half-Life 2, Counter-Strike Source, Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2, Episode 1, Portal, Half-Life 2, Episode 2, Left 4 Dead, Left 4 Dead 2, Portal 2, uh, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Team Fortress 2, Dota 2, and The Lab. It doesn't
And
include
nobody bought
Half-Life
any
Alyx,
of it because everybody owns all of it already.
but for less than $6, that's a
Yeah, that's
steal.
awesome. I mean, if you don't have any of these titles, all the Half-Life games are good. All the Portal games are good. Left 4 Dead, I don't know that I'd go back and play Left 4 Dead anymore. I know there's still fans.
Not by myself, but if I had some buddies and a couple of drinks, it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Never heard of Ricochet. You ever heard of Ricochet?
Mm-mm.
Me neither. That's great. I like cheap games.
Yeah.
I want to play Portal 2 again. I haven't played Portal 2 since it was brand new.
I played a little bit with my son on Xbox Live because I think it's an Xbox Live Game Pass game,
Is it?
and you can play it co-op.
Yeah.
So you know, somebody's the tall robot and somebody's the short robot. And we were playing that a little bit, and you know, my son's only 6, so there's not a whole lot that he can
Yeah, that's a
figure out
mind
as far as
twister.
puzzles go. So, but he was basically the reason that started is he was playing Minecraft, and he saw a video of somebody using a modded Minecraft with the portal gun.
Oh.
And so he's like, I really want that. It's like, okay, because he, you know, it's kind of cool. And I found one on Xbox where you can kind of do it, but it's kind of jank. And I was like, well, we can play like the original where you can play with the real portals. He's like, yeah, let's do that. So played that for a little bit. It was fun.
Do you like it?
Yeah. I mean, figuring out the puzzles can be a little frustrating. And I think I got stuck. So then we stopped playing. You got the next few, I think.
Yeah. So last episode, we talked about how Wii U's are getting bricked due to disuse. There's something about the NAND memory where if there's no power, like put to the NAND memory for a certain amount of time, it doesn't back it up correctly. Or I don't know the technical details. Basically, if you don't turn on your Wii U every once in a while, you can brick the console. Well, modders have found a way to fix it. It does have to be hardware modded, though, with a new circuit board to fix it. But it can be brought back from the dead using this method. So that's good news, at least, that, like, you know, Wii U's aren't just going to be all dead in 10 years. Like, you'll still be able to play those games, which was a concern, honestly. I don't think we've ever had that happen to a video game system where they all just died and that whole library became impossible to play on original hardware. But I feel like it's going to happen. Like, whether it's the Wii U or the Xbox 360, one of these fucking systems, they're just all going to die, right?
Yeah, I feel like if this is something that's going to happen with the Wii U, this is only going to exacerbate the idea that Wii U games and that library is going to become pretty rare and collectible. Because if you can only play them one way, you know what I mean? Like, it just becomes incredibly difficult, and people start to chase that stuff.
Yeah. I have a pretty big Wii U collection just because I was buying a lot of games for my kids when they were that age. So their collection was pretty extensive. And now I've brought that into the office because they don't play it anymore.
They're pretty cheap to get now, too.
The games?
For the most part.
Yeah. A lot of the games, though, were ported over to the Switch.
Yeah.
So it's probably interesting to figure out, like, what games were kind of stuck on the Wii U and never ported over. But I'm glad to know that there's a fix for it. Also, the Switch, if you don't have a battery, a good battery in your Switch, that won't boot up at all. Like, even if it's connected to power in the dock. So that's going to be a concern in the long run for the Switch is getting batteries.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. So exciting.
Yeah. That's good news, right? This was kind of interesting. This is a new Xbox wireless controller for Retro Fighters, from Retro Fighters. This is, by Xbox, I mean Xbox, not Xbox 360, not Xbox One, not Xbox Series X, not Xbox 2, not Xbox 3, not Xbox 4, Xbox. And what's nice about this is it's a wireless controller that uses kind of like modern 2.4G kind of connections and all that. I've used a couple of Retro Fighters controllers in the past. They're definitely not like OEM quality controllers. In fact, the D-pads, ironically, for somebody called Retro Fighters, you'd think the D-pads would be really a priority on these things. But still, it's a Xbox kind of style controller that's wireless, and that has some value to it.
Yeah, the things that I noticed that about the Retro Fighter controllers is that they feel really light. Like
They are very light.
not not a good light. It's like these are cheap parts kind of light, but they
Yeah.
do work well. Um, they're mostly well constructed. It doesn't have the heft of like a normal
Just doesn't
controller.
feel as quality, but like you said, they do work well. Like
Yeah.
they do. I have quite a few of them. I have them for several consoles, and they're actually my primary controller, I believe, for my Dreamcast at this point.
I have one for the N64.
Yeah, I have one of theirs for the N64 as well. Yeah, I don't know. Like, if you're looking for something like this, they're out there, and they're not that expensive. They're like $40.
Yeah. So did you see this next story?
Yeah, this is cool. This is craziness.
We were tweeted this from somebody on Twitter named Krytos, and he linked us to the YouTube video, which I watched the whole thing because it's very kind of engaging. The Completionist, which is his YouTube name, bought every single Wii U and 3DS eShop title that was available. And this includes all DLC. It includes every like downloadable song for every game and all this stuff. And he goes through the entire process and all his kind of stops that he had along the way. And at some point, like there was titles that he couldn't get anymore because they were going off the eShop because the contracts were expiring and all this stuff. And it was just wild to watch all the way through and just see this experience. Basically, he spent, I think, just shy of $20,000 just on the titles and all the content and everything like that. But some of the hardest things that he came across were, one, buying the eShop gift cards. Like the banks were like, "What are you doing?" And so he had to deal with the banks. He had to deal with Nintendo. Like you can only have $250 in your account at any given time. And then like the downloads were slow. He had issues with the storage, and like it was just wild to watch.
Interesting. That is an endeavor.
Yeah.
Did he ever say why he did it?
He said for preservation purposes, like you're not going to be able to play this stuff.
Well, it's all playable in other ways.
Well, is it? There's some obscure titles, like there was like Fashion Designer and like all the DLC for that. Like who's downloading that and putting ROMs of those
It's good, especially DLC. I don't know, honestly. I mean, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I respect this man's beard. His beard game is
Go check it out on YouTube.
strong.
The Completionist. I think he's got like over 1 million subs, but it was like I think, what's the YouTube video at now? When I watched it, whatever, 2 days ago, it was at like 500K views or something. Now it's at like 600K.
Yeah, 600K.
Yeah. It's pretty entertaining to watch.
All right,
I
check it
think
out.
It's more than 10 minutes, but yep. I think that's it for news.
All right.
Bucky O'Hare, your favorite game.
I don't dislike this game. If you're trying to insinuate that I don't like this game, you're wrong, sir. I don't hate this game.
He asked me before the show, he's like, is this a TMNT clone?
Yeah, it feels like a TMNT clone, doesn't it? Like it feels like not a clone, but like of that era. Like, oh, like these green turtles are popular. Let's make a green rabbit.
Well, turtles are green. The fact that the rabbit's green is kind of weird.
Yeah.
If we could describe this game, it's like a Mega Man mixed with TMNT 1.
Sure.
Probably.
Yeah. More to the Mega Man side, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like, it plays a lot like a Mega Man game. The way your character like jumps and shoots. Maybe a little like more free than Mega Man. Like you don't feel quite as confined by the moveset as you do in Mega Man.
Sure. But some of the things are pretty similar. Like, touching anything that you're not supposed to touch, you die instantly.
Yeah.
But then if you get hit by enemies or bullets, you have like a life bar and things like that, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, it's not always clear what's gonna like one shot you and what's gonna just take off like a stick of health either.
touching water of any kind is
Yes.
immediate death.
As we know, deadly to the rabbit. If we know nothing about rabbits, it's that they're extremely hydrophobic.
So the way that they have it set up in game, there's 4 different planets, and each planet is housing one of your friends. And if you go to the planet and beat the boss, you can then play as that character on the other levels. I did beat one level, and I got the little guy that with the like the Cyclops looking dude with the jetpack. And it's really interesting because much like Mega Man, you need specific characters to beat specific levels. Because I went into the ice level, and you can't shoot the ice down at all with Bucky, but as soon as you switch over to the little Cyclops dude, he can shoot through those little ice blocks immediately, which is pretty cool. So there's kind of an
Interesting.
order of operations to the levels.
Yeah, I watched. I went over to I think it's called You Can Beat Video Games YouTube channel, and I
Mhm.
just kind of watched the walkthrough to kind of get like. Once I was presented with like multiple choices, like which level do I got to go through first, I was kind of like, all right, I'm just gonna follow a guide here,
Yeah.
and like you said, it's pretty clear. The game plays pretty good. Technically, I think it's a technically impressive looking game, but like aesthetically, it's not good looking at all.
You don't think so?
No, like the characters all kind of like ugly ish.
Well,
Like,
they're based on the comic book and the TV show and stuff,
yeah,
which the story for the game more closely resembles the TV show than it does the comic book, which came out about a year before the game did.
that makes sense. That's what players are gonna like. Players of that era are gonna like have a reference point to, because the comic book is based on like a character that like originated in like the 1970s, and like nobody's gonna have read that.
Did you check out the website buckyohare.org?
I did click on it. Yeah,
It is impressive. So, first of all, it looks like this website was made in 1998. Uh, but yeah, it looks like something that would have been housed on GeoCities or something like that, just the design of it.
yeah.
But it has like all the information for Bucky O'Hare. It has like all the TV stuff. There's interviews, all the episodes. It has like a web series, which I think is made by fans of the show. There's the merchandise. It's got action figures, comic books, arcade game. There's like handbooks, stickers, DVDs, like so much stuff. And it's all recorded on this website and still updated and housed, which I think is super cool that somebody's paying for this to be housed there.
Somebody is a mega Bucky fan.
Somebody named Rygar Blade at
Rygar,
yahoo.com.
another classic NES game.
Yeah. So buckyohare.org. You can go find all the things about Bucky O'Hare, which is super cool. I'm just looking through the notes on what I put here.
Yeah,
There was an actual arcade cabinet, but the game, it's a completely different game.
yeah.
And it almost looks like TMNT 4 because it's co-op. You can play as the 4 different characters. It looks like a beat 'em up type game. That's isometric view, the way that TMNT 4 is. Not fully isometric, but just kind of that arcade TMNT
Like a
look.
beat 'em up, a belt scrolling beat 'em up.
Yeah. I don't know. It looked kind of cool. I kind of want to play that. I bet we could probably find the ROM for that somewhere.
Oh, it's probably in MAME, right?
Yeah, probably. Let's see. Oh yeah, so there was a TV series for this that
Yeah.
came out a year before.
I
And I don't think it had a
somewhat
ton
remember
of
that.
it didn't yeah, it was in 1991. I don't remember it at all.
Like I watched like a trailer for it. I was like, this looks somewhat familiar. All the like colors and the characters are just so off-putting though. Like it totally looks like something I wouldn't have watched.
Yeah, no. It's not I don't know. It'd be interesting. Are there any fans of Bucky O'Hare out there? Like just, the green rabbit. Why is the rabbit green? I know that there's a bunch of aliens and stuff involved, but I don't know. And the last note that I have here, there wasn't a ton of notes that I could find, really, which is odd. But so this is a Konami game, and much like other games, the folks that worked on this, a lot of them went over to form Treasure, like right
Yeah.
after Bucky O'Hare was released.
The founder of Treasure worked on this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's a good game. It's like it just plays well. It's fun.
I still am not 100% sure why the super like when you hold so when you hit the fire button, you fire. You can tap
Yeah.
it as fast as you want. But if you hold it, it's like an alternate power move type
Yeah.
thing, which is generally a jump, which for the small Cyclops character makes sense because it's a jetpack and you can kind of float over chasms.
Hmm.
That makes sense. Bucky O'Hare's is just a slightly higher jump. It's not even all that much higher.
You can collect power ups to make it bigger, to
Okay,
make it higher. And the first level has one.
got you. It didn't seem like it was all that useful
Yeah, it
when
was
I was
useful to
playing.
get like just slightly higher places. It becomes useful later, I think. If you don't collect it, you might. I don't know if you can get stuck by not collecting it. Probably speedrunners would know that, but that's something I learned from watching the walkthroughs. Like, pick these up because it makes your super jump higher,
Sure.
and it lasts
And
forever. Like, you keep it forever.
there's unlimited continues too, which I find to be pretty cool.
It's
Especially for a
nice,
game that's this tough.
but it did reset you to the beginning of the level. Like, it's not. It's one of those. There's not like checkpoints during the. Well,
There is.
there's like. Well, there's like sub levels. There's like 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, like that kind of level, and
Mhm.
it keep your progress to your sub level, but not like halfway through the sub level.
Sure.
Sure.
But I mean, yeah. At a certain point, some of the platforming, you get pretty comfortable with it. It
Yeah, it
just
feels
is
good.
funny to me how you touch. There's certain parts where you have to stand on a log and it kind of goes down and things like that. If you touch the water at all, you're immediately dead.
Yeah.
It's just hilarious. Like lava, I understand stuff that's kind of on the bottom of the screen. I understand, but if it's in the middle of the screen, and then later in the level, you fall down a waterfall, like I almost didn't wanna jump off into the waterfalls, like, is this gonna murder me immediately? Because it's just there's a lot of bullet hell type stuff. It is kinda nice that you can just immediately switch between you hit select and it just, like, immediately switches to the other character that you have. You don't have to, like, go to a menu and do it in select or anything like that, and everybody has their own life bar and stuff like that, so
There's a hard mode for this game as well, and apparently, like everything is one shot kill if you play hard mode.
oh, no. No, thank you.
Yeah.
I just can picture because there's a lot of stuff that just flies through the screen, and it's very difficult to miss. Especially there was a boss that I fought. He does the rhythms are easy to figure out and damage and stuff like that. It's just hard to avoid the different things. Like he'll throw a giant boulder and then it just splashes out stuff, and then he charges you and you have to jump over him and stuff. So, but I would just like get hit and then I'd turn around and start firing at him, and then he'd come across and get hit again. But I still beat it. I can't imagine getting one shot by all that. No, thank
Yeah.
you. Like, that
I
doesn't
agree.
sound fun at all. That sounds kinda rough. Anything else?
That's it for me for Bucky O'Hare. This game, it didn't get my juices flowing like I was hoping it would. It's just kind of, it's technically proficient, but not, didn't engage me, you know?
Ironic that Briar Rabbit's not into rabbits. Good to
I
know.
very competitive around here for other rabbits. I don't like other
There can only
rabbits
be one.
horning in. Yeah.
Pickups? Did you get any pickups?
Yes, I did. So I talked about Metroid Prime remaster. Not a, all mine are borderline. They're like old games for new system kind of pickups this week.
Sure, sure.
But like I said, I've been really enjoying this. I'm glad I was able to finally get a physical copy. I didn't want to buy the digital and the physical, so I was kind of waiting to play it. This is a game that we've talked about on this show a number of times, but I finally received in the mail. It's Cannon Dancer. I got a PS5 copy and a Switch copy. This is made by the guy who made Strider for the arcade and Genesis. It's a spiritual follow-up to this game, and boy howdy is it, man. If you like Strider, this game is right up your alley. It's fantastic. I'd say it's a little harder than Strider, probably, especially the last level, but because this is an arcade game on a disc or a Switch cartridge, you can quarter feed this, but there are a bunch of extra modes that kind of switch it up. Like you can limit yourself to 3 continues, but you get like power-ups like a double jump, or you're invincible while you're swinging your sword, like stuff like that, which is kind of neat. It like adds a little bit of replayability to the game, a little bit of challenge to the game. And I've been actually having quite a bit of fun with this. I've only played the PS5 version. I haven't opened my Switch version up, but I mean, it's a arcade game from the 1990s something, so it should run fine on the Switch, hopefully. But I've been really enjoying these.
Nice.
And speaking of PlayAsia, I also got a copy of Akai Katana for the PS4. We're not gonna focus here. This game is fucking awesome. It is another cave shooter. Anybody who knows me knows I've been buying up a bunch of these shmups, and this is another one of these. This is originally released in arcades, I think in the mid 2000s, late 2000s, then came out for the Xbox 360. This is kind of a port of the Xbox 360 game, which is, I think, somewhat rare. I got this off of PlayAsia for not too much money. It just took them a little while to ship it to me, which was fine. The game itself is pretty cool. It's a side-scrolling shoot 'em up that has kind of like an anime style to it. But it's really cool. It's really fun, and I've been enjoying it. That's a PS4 game.
You can play PS4 games on PS5, right?
That's correct. I think it's like 99.9% compatibility. Like, I haven't run into anything I can't play on PS5, but I still have my PS4 Pro hooked up in my office here.
Nice.
Yeah, that's it for pickups for me.
So I only have a couple, really, and they're not really important, but I have this one to show you. So, anybody who knows or doesn't know, I enjoy complete in box games, and often I will pick up stuff that's like just cart and box or cart and manual, and then I have to go hunt down the box for the manual and stuff like that. So I actually got a couple of manuals for decent price in the last 2 weeks. I got Kiwi Craze for NES. It's actually, I can't remember. I think it's called the New Zealand story in
Oh yeah, New Zealand
overseas.
story, sure.
So it's called Kiwi Craze in the US, and it's basically about a kiwi who goes around. It's like a platforming game, but it's a Taito game. So I don't know. It's kind of an obscure sort of rare title, not mega expensive or anything, but finding games like this complete in box for reasonable prices are very difficult. So often you have to piece them out. And then the other one that I got similarly was, and I've showed this before, Cool World for the NES.
Yeah.
Which the SNES version is pretty easy to find and not very expensive, but the NES version is very difficult and very expensive. I had the carton box, and I actually, so this is how crazy I am. I bought a new copy of the cart that came with the manual because basically I got it for the price of just the cart. So now I have 2 carts and 1 manual, so then I have to like sell or trade off the second cart. But it was an upgrade to the cart too anyway. So now I have a complete copy of Cool World for the NES as well.
Cool.
So
You ever see that movie?
that's
Weird movie.
I have not, and I kind of want to go back. I heard it's kind of the R-rated Roger Rabbit
That's fair.
style.
I don't think it's as good as Roger Rabbit, but it's weird. It's cool.
Sorry, it was lame. So what are we playing next episode?
All right, so I've been thinking about this. We've been doing a bunch of like knockoff Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games. I think it's time to go back to the original, a palette refresh, if you will. And we've already done TMNT for the NES. I think it's time to go for Turtles in Time for the Super Nintendo. A classic. I'd say the best Turtles game outside of the arcade.
Pizza Time.
Yeah. What do you think?
Nice.
Little
Actually,
arcade
I'm on board. I
belt style
actually have it.
brawler.
I would really like to get an upgraded condition copy, but I do have it complete in box. It's really beat up.
Is the box art on that? Are they all wearing red bandanas again? No, no, they're not. Okay.
No, they're not. It's just the biggest turtles on the are Mikey and Raph, which are kind of dark orange and red.
I don't think I have a copy of this, so this might be a perfect opportunity for me to get a copy.
The cart's not super expensive. I think
Yeah.
like $60, 40, 50, 60. I've beaten this recently. I'm trying to remember, is this on the Switch Online?
I don't think so, but I think it's in that collection that came out.
Sure. Yeah, the Cowabunga collection. It is 100% on that.
I'm looking to see if I have a copy. I know I have that at least, the Cowabunga collection. Actually, I'll probably play it on the Cowabunga.
Yeah, I might do that too because I beat it on an analog a few years ago, or at least 2 years ago.
Yeah, I
I
don't
think.
have a copy.
Yeah, good game. I'm excited.
Yeah, I had it when I was a kid, so I kind of want a copy because I've been trying to, like, one of the things I'd want to do is kind of get some of the games I had when I was a kid, especially the good ones.
Sure.
So I kind of like to get a copy. I'll probably just keep my eye out for it. It's one of those games that pops up every once in a while.
They're pretty common, but yeah, they're not
Pretty
super
popular
cheap,
though,
but
too.
yeah.
All right, I think that's it
Cool.
for tonight's show, right?
Yeah, shorter episode to balance out the longer one last.
It was a long episode last time. That's true. All right, Jay. You got anything you want to talk about before we go?
No, I'm gonna be switching my schedule starting next week. I'm gonna be early
that's exciting.
mornings. And basically, it's probably going to be a situation where on Tuesdays I will just stream until the podcast for the most part. And I'm thinking Tuesdays I can, do Destiny or whatever up until noon or 1, and then switch over to retro leading into this.
Wasn't
At least
Tuesday
that's my
reset
plan.
day?
Yeah. Reset day.
Reset day.
So I'll probably be playing retro games more often leading up into the podcast as like bonus content. So
Nice.
It'll be interesting to see how that works out. But if you want to check out and hang out before the podcast, you're more than welcome to.
Excellent.
Yep. How about you?
No, I got nothing.
Perfect.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in 2 weeks. We'll be playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time on the Super Nintendo. Check out Bucky O'Hare. Tell us what you think, and we'll see you next time. Bye.